All right, so 5 years as an artist, what I have learned in this journey, while it has been profound, I feel the most in my purpose when I'm creating. And I just want to drop some gems for you guys, kind of if you're about to go on this journey or if you're in the midst of it, or if you've gone through all these things. I just want to kind of restate how important some of these lessons are and how I'm still working on them even 5 years into it. So let's get right into it. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is perfectionism and how it can really be a plague on your artistic ventures when you obsess over the small details. While there is a bit of a sweet spot with this whole perfectionist philosophy, because what's wrong with wanting something to be the best it can be? Nothing really, until it's paralyzing you in the process and it's stopping you from going further or being in flow with your practice as time carries on. And what I've found in my time of, well, first off, I realized I was a perfectionist, and chasing perfection, it's never going to be good enough. You will be stuck on one canvas the rest of your life if you're a perfectionist. So important to get that in check, to kind of see that in yourself. Also, with the idea of chasing perfection, it makes it hard to even take a step forward with your art, because instead of like just doing it, like whatever you're thinking, like this would look cool, let me try this color, whatever you're kind of like debating on, instead of just jumping in and doing it, you more so think, well, I don't know. Like it's a lot of this, like you just see question marks all over the place, so you don't act as much, and it leads to procrastination. Perfectionism leads to procrastination. Instead of striving for perfection, we should just be in flow, accept human error, and let ourselves just make bad art if that's what it comes to. If we make that choice, we decide, oh, that wasn't the greatest choice, that's a lesson you get to learn, instead of wondering what if, just like sitting back, all the possibilities of what I could do with this piece. I'll just think it into a coma and never actually do anything. I've done that plenty, and I care about these pieces. I care too much about some of these pieces where it really, every little step, it was like, I don't know where that comes from, but it was like, this art piece does not define me as a person or myself as an existence, as an energy. Like, this is just one aspect. This is where I'm at right now. And when we stay in practice, we can get near perfect. Our canvases, our art, I will only get a little bit better every time we work on something or lessons learned. We take that into the next one. The beauty of not being a perfectionist is really kind of understanding like the sketchbook philosophy, where if you don't like the sketch or you fucked it up or you spilled coffee on it or whatever happens, you just turn the page. Canvas might feel like more pressure because it's solidified. It already feels like a piece of art before there's anything on it. It just, this is going to hang somewhere, or however you shape that in your own mind. But the truth is, the canvas is no different. If you mess it up and you really don't like it, you can easily restart. Throw on some more paint. You could even sand it down and prime it again, and then just start fresh. So really what I wanted to just drill in, guys, is like perfectionism can be the downfall of your own art journey. You got to find that sweet spot. While it is cool to really zoom in and fine tune everything, get it as good as it can be, but I constantly find myself battling to just let myself be a human, let myself flow, and we're not chasing perfection. You're already set up to fail if you're chasing perfection. The next tip is momentum is key, because without momentum, we're not evolving, we're not pushing the limits, we're not going farther in our practice. It's so often, and this is not just a art kind of thing, this goes into all aspects of life, as far as staying in practice with something, keeping that ball rolling. You can only get better. You're not going to get worse staying in the flow, staying in the practice where it's compound interest. The more you do it, the easier it is to stay in the mix, to keep evolving. And there's kind of like, I know you guys have experienced it where you do something regularly, you take some time away, you come back to it, and it feels like you just have to knock the rust off. You know, things that you could do, like let's say it's skateboarding. From like I'll bring an example. Like it was so easy to just hop on and cruise, snap a ollie, and just do some simple tricks. Then when it's been a long time, or even just like at the park dropping in, cutting and carving, like these little maneuvers that came like second nature, you didn't have to think about it much. When it's been a while, just hopping in and trying to do that, it doesn't work. You've been out of tune. You don't have that momentum backing you. And it's the same thing with your canvas or your sketchbook, whatever art form you're working on. The more in tune and the more practice you're giving to said practice, just the better and the easier it will be to move forward. If you're trying to improve and you want to crank out volume of work, you got to stay with it every day. And I know it's a beautiful thing to see something completely blank, have it flushed out and looking good, and be like, this is done, I'm finished. Which is nice to kind of sit back and like reflect, look at your work, but also like cut open the next one and get going. A great way also to to keep the momentum flowing is, even if you're not doing the canvas, stay sketching. Sketch daily. Always have it close. Whatever you got, just keep some pens around, keep a notebook, and just, if you stay in the practice of drawing, you won't lose that, the vibe, the overall flow, and yeah, simply put, guys, momentum is key. The next piece of advice I want to focus on is experimenting with different mediums, trying a range of different styles and approaches to art, and break the norm. Whatever you start with is great for the time, but always be broadening the horizon. Because, I mean, there's a whole world of mediums out there. A lot of us start with pencils, pens, but then gradually we can go get some paint pens, we can go get some brushes, we can get some charcoal, we can get some chalk, and then there's all these ranges of paint. We can go get oil paints, acrylic paints, watercolor, and it's really, there's so many mediums. It would take a long time to actively try them all, especially, and money and investment, of course. However, it really sharpens your sword. That's the whole point of trying a new medium, even taking it away from a canvas, taking it away from a paintbrush or a pencil. If you're playing an instrument, you're actively pursuing art in a different way. If you're singing a song, similar. If you're dancing, like going and playing basketball, like it's interesting how those are all different creative flows that are not strictly like what we know as art, as sitting down and painting something. But they all can really broaden the horizon, and like I said, sharpen your sword. You take those experiences from other mediums into the one you've been using. Something that really comes to mind for myself is, I started with like pens, pencil, pen and pencil, then markers, and then eventually got onto some canvas. I had some paint pens, which I really enjoyed, into the brush work, or the brushes, painting with a real paintbrush. Somewhere along the line, after making several canvases, having my time with art, I wanted to do more digital, because I thought, okay, I want to level up, I want to try something new, I want to be able to potentially utilize this design as becoming more than just a singular piece of art. Like, it could be a shirt, it could stretch out to many different things. So I locked in on digital art pretty hard. Just Procreate, was learning the program and drawing often, kind of fine-tuning the flow, because it's very different than other mediums that I had done previously. And there was one thing that was so cool in Procreate is you can basically have perfectly straight lines by drawing a line, but holding it. Like you draw and hold, and it will just straighten the line for you. Or same thing with curvature. Like if I wanted a perfect circle, I just freehand a perfect circle and stop, and it takes a second, and then boom, perfect circle. So I got used to kind of seeing just these clean line work, these super clean edges, which is always something. Line work is heavy in my practice, something I really try to excel in and try to make look good, and steady hands and all that kind of stuff. So from doing a ton of digital artwork, when I pivoted back to the canvases, I could tell my sword was sharper. I looked at some of the fine details and the line work of old pieces versus the more current ones, and they're vastly different, in my opinion, much better. And it's been a beautiful thing just to mix up the flow, try different things, and bring them together, or even go on this venture of trying different mediums and then go back to where you started just to kind of refresh and just work your way up. You'll find ones that you like more than others, and you should stick to those, because you're not making art just for the fuck of it. You have some reason, some passion, some deeper enjoyment that allows you to get up and lay down some paint however often, right? I think the more understanding you have of these different mediums, just the stronger you are as an artist in general. Even if you don't like watercolors, try it anyway. Even if, just, and that goes with anything, just do stuff that is opposite of what you've been doing. It will make you a better artist. A lot of my stuff kind of has like these happy undertones. Like I don't really be thinking about it too much, but I lean more positive in my art. I don't make dark art. However, if I wanted to really mix it up, I would try to make a more like evil piece of art, a more dark art, just to broaden my horizon. And that's something just think about in your own practice. Along with using different mediums, think about changing your canvas as well. You don't always just have to paint a square canvas. You can take the same tools you have, go paint some shoes, paint a desk, paint a skateboard, surfboard, table. Your range is never limited. It's only limited by your imagination and your belief in yourself, really. Just to kind of play that game, if you're always doing a canvas and you get used to like what I would do is I'll work on a canvas and I'll flip it when I want to get a certain angle, get up close, or a different perspective. There's kind of a way to just easily flip a canvas, right? What if I'm painting a wall? I can't just flip a wall. I have to be comfortable standing at that wall and painting. So the shoe, it's not the same as that flat square. It's got curvature. There's different like things you consider when you're painting a different style of canvas. While a skateboard, a snowboard, surf, they can be more flat, very similar to a canvas, just a different shape. It's still broadening your horizon, and again, fine-tuning that sword, getting it really sharp from every angle, so you just got that precision. You can do anything, and you're just more well-rounded. I think the more well-rounded you become in your life in general, the better chance you have to be a great artist and to not get so stuck in a box doing one style, and also dreading the art itself. I think having those new experiences, trying something you haven't done and really taking it in and trying your best, it's how you grow. The next tip that I want to discuss is organization as a whole. Setting your life up to pursue art. I don't know about y'all, but when I have stuff all over the place and all this clutter, which is going to happen as you're creating, I get that. However, having an organized space is just very freeing to the mind. Seeing just the canvas and the paintbrushes ready to go with the paint, the palette knife, and whatever else you need, that's an easy transition from wherever I was to stepping into art. When I see a mess and I see clothes and fucking food and all this stuff, notebooks piling up, it's not a very like freeing element of like, let's get to work, let's paint a picture, let's make it happen. For a while, I think I used to just create despite those things, but your room and your space is definitely a representation of your mind. A cluttered space is a cluttered mind. If maybe you flow like that, I think most of us are more like myself, where they would like it more clean and everything in there its particular spot to make good art and really setting yourself up for success, right? So the more organized the space, the more set up you are to dive in and to carry on and to keep increasing the momentum and just the power within, and like being committed to your craft. You gotta position things that make sense. Don't go putting it in a box and shoving it under the bed. You will forget about it. Chances are. I understand not all of us can just have things set up all the time, but if you do have that luxury, like make sure it's easy accessible. If it's even just the sketchbook, have that on your desk, have the pens right there. Just so like in the throes of life, we have these little gentle reminders like, hey, there's our practice that we are connected to and committed to and we want to excel in. Let's dive in. Very much your instrument or whatever you like to do, right? The more in your face it is, the more you're going to pick it up and enjoy and practice. So definitely one thing I've learned on my artist journey is to be organized and set myself up for success and I'm not talking about money when I say success, just getting in the flows of the practice, sitting down and working on said thing. It's going to be a lot easier with an organized space, things in their respective areas, clothes folded, boxes out of the way, and just decluttered space. You're going to excel. You're going to have just more free space in your mind, which allows for your creativity to thrive, to really tune in and just focus on the piece, because that's what's current. And you will make a mess. I get it. Like used brushes are piling up and you got paints and crayons or like whatever is going on all over the place. That's how the creative process works. But we don't just put it down, forget about it, walk away. We need to clean stuff, put it back where it goes, and have that canvas just beaming at us, or the notebook, whatever it is, to remember like, hey, I'm right here. The canvas is telling you I'm right here. You put me right here. I'm reminding you, let's get to it. So really, guys, be organized in your practice, believe in it, have a routine, have a schedule, and it's a huge key to doing well as an artist. Another thing that I want to talk about that you may encounter along your artist journey, especially early on or somewhere in those early stages, is this idea of imposter syndrome. So that idea, it affects us in a small scale, and as someone who's trying to pursue it more seriously, more career oriented with it, or trying to become a pro, you have to get over this imposter syndrome. I know many of you, like myself, will see art that doesn't really speak to us. Like, it's art, someone did something, but you may not like it, but you also see it selling for big quantities of money, potentially. I had a hard time understanding why somebody could be so confident and sell their art at a high ticket price. And I'm over here like a little bit envious, that was the whole thing. Like, it's art that I don't particularly think is good. It doesn't move me or speak to me. But here they are believing in themselves, standing on their toes, like, here I am. This is my art. This is how much it cost. And, people buy it. People want custom art, especially in a world of a lot of AI coming about and so much being like AI generated images. I think now is a great time for artists to really excel, show people the process, show exactly where this piece came from. And I think the energy, the soul, the love and heart, the passion that is put into a piece, when someone buys that and they put it up on their wall, it's just such a different feeling than a AI generated photo or whatever. But when I say I was envious, it's because I'm over here at times thinking, man, my stuff's great. You know, this is a great piece. Someone would buy this, right? No one can buy it if I don't own that as an artist. Say, no, I am an artist. Here's the price. And go from there. The more we do that, the easier it's going to be to just own it as a whole, to just say, like, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, I'm serious. And in turn, breaking the chains of being an imposter. Putting a for sale sticker can be that's a big moment as an artist. Because something you put your heart and soul into, you are now putting up to sale for a dollar amount to someone who wants to pay whatever you ask for, right? People think, you know, why I'm not a great artist. No one's gonna want to buy my stuff. Like, there's these like negative thought patterns that kind of come in when you think about thinking of yourself as a true artist. And on that note, there's something that I think can help a lot with imposter syndrome is understanding that you have a one-of-a-kind vibe. Maybe you don't have the same skills as people that are 10 levels above, but they don't have your vibe. They don't have your energy. They don't have your life experience that you put into your art. And no matter what you're doing, it's there. People have a hard time saying, like, I'm an artist. They just kind of, it can be more like, oh, well, yeah, I sketch a little bit. Like, it's very nonchalant, or kind of like, you could say humble, but it's like, there's nothing wrong with believing and telling the world who you are and what you're about. It's not like, you don't want to get too deep into your ego thinking you're better than anybody, but there's nothing wrong with owning yourself as an artist and just rocking out. Like, yeah, why the fuck not, man? It can be, I think everyone will encounter it at one point or another. Just that little bit of doubt, the second guessing, you know, especially as you climb up the milestones and you get better and you're getting more compliments and you're thinking about, well, this is something I love to do. Can I make this into a career? Can this be my whole job, making art? And if that's who you are and what you want to do, you have to come to terms with being able to sell your pieces and letting go of the art. Like I said, I would get so attached to some of the stuff I was making, I did not want to let them go. And it's not like people are knocking on my door, like, with a bunch of money trying to buy them. It was just more like, man, I can't believe I made this. I want to put this up on my wall and enjoy it. But a big part is being able to let go, being able to sell them. And the more you put yourself in that frame of mind and set yourself up, have a website to sell art, promote it online, however that looks to you, the more comfortable and more belief you'll have in yourself as a true artist. And you won't be stopped in your tracks by this imposter syndrome. But I'm telling you, I think everyone will experience it at some point. I know I have, and I'm still coming to terms with it. Just like most of these things, like, I'm reminding myself in the future what I need to do. I'm gonna look back at this video and remind myself, like, yo, it's okay, bro. You're an artist. Do it. Go paint that mural. Do the wall. Collab. Like, whatever that thing is, you can do it. You're an artist. You're meant for this. Your purpose on this earth, to some degree, is to be in the flow creatively. And for many of you, that I'm talking to you directly. Get out there, make it happen, believe in yourself, and I want to wish you good luck on your journey.